Joe Rogan has finally revealed the truth of the 2020 election after the media has some new reports regarding if it was rigged or not against Donald Trump. Let's check out what Joe Rogan has to say here about the 2020 election and what really happened there.
It was a rigged election.
Rigged.
It was, even if it wasn't rigged.
He's still saying it.
But even if it wasn't rigged, let's say it wasn't rigged. Let's say it was a fair and that's who won and that's how it was going to be. Biden won. For sure, it was rigged by the media. For sure. Just the Hunter Biden laptop case and the Russia collusion case. Just those two things.
Yeah.
Just those two narratives.
Just those two things alone, you can make the argument that it was rigged, but also there was a ton of other things that was hidden from Biden's past, and there's also a ton of other things that were made up about Donald Trump that just weren't true. There's still things like that, and it's still just like, people act like it's common sense. Certain things that Trump said that he never even said, certain things that Trump did that he never did. People act like it's just common sense. It's the way that they talk about these things, and they're just straight up not true. And then there's certain things that I'll bring up about Joe Biden and the Biden family, and everybody's like, what are you talking about? That's not true. That's it. That's disinformation. That's misinformation. When it's in fact completely true, and there's no falsehoods about it, but the media wouldn't dare to report on that. That's what Joe Rogan is talking about, how it might not have been rigged with the voting machines, but it was definitely rigged with the media.
They knew were not true, that they pushed out in front of everybody, and that we know, had to do with trying to get rid of Trump. That was a big, that is
one over-reporting and one under-reporting.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, in many ways, that's
an attempt to
manipulation.
Yeah.
It's manipulation of a public narrative. It's a manipulation of what the people think is real and not real. Everybody thought he was in collusion with Russia. It's what everybody thought. It's they were just,
like I said, people act like it's just common sense now.
All these mainstream, except Fox News, they were the only ones. They were the only ones that weren't pushing it. Everybody else was pushing it.
Yeah, it was sold hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was not true, and it's proven to be not true. And then there's the Hunter Biden laptop thing, which they knew was true, and they said wasn't true.
Yeah.
And they told you that they stopped people from sharing it on social media. They stopped people from sharing it on Twitter. Zuckerberg sat in that very chair and said that the FBI contacted Facebook and told them that it was Russian disinformation. They were getting a bunch of Russian disinformation. And so they limited the spread of that.
Wow.
I don't know how they did it. I don't know exactly what they did to limit the distribution of that article.
The FBI is involved in that.
It's wild shit,
it's pretty
dude.
Wild.
It's wild shit, and no one cares. No one's up in arms. No one's freaking out, because that is a...
Nobody cares. And imagine if it was the other way around. Everybody would care. If those stories were being hidden about Trump or the Trump family, dude, everybody would be care. Every single media outlet, CNN, MSNBC, all of them would all be all over that story. Trying their absolute best to expose everything within, Trump's personal life or, Trump's family life. And why do you think they're trying to throw him in jail now? It's not because he's actually done anything wrong. And you can make the debate on whether or not he did anything wrong. There's a debate to be had there for sure. But they don't care about that. Because if they did care about that, they would have indicted every single prior president and current president right now. They care about smearing Trump's name. They don't care about justice at all. They only care about smearing Trump's name and making sure the election goes one way and definitely not in Trump's favor. That's all they care about.
Way that you're going to rig an election without rigging an election.
Yeah.
Whether you like that guy or not, we have to follow the rules. We have to. And if we don't follow the rules because we don't like somebody, and we break the law because we don't like somebody, we don't want them to win.
No, I agree.
Now this is banana republic shit.
Yeah, that's not cool at all.
That's scary. And the fact that they were willing to do that, and that there's no oversight, that no one can stop them from doing that, and then there's no punishment for them doing that.
It also speaks to how much he's despised by this.
Despised.
I mean.
They also mentioned, I don't know if it was before or after, but they also mentioned the fact that the media just reported that there was no glitches, or the glitches in the Dominion voting system didn't have anything to do with the election, like it didn't sway it one way or another. And it's like, okay, that might be the case. But like Joe Rogan said, the media definitely by itself rigged it in one way by lying about both candidates, by lying about Donald Trump, saying that he was colluding with Russia, and a bunch of other things they lied about him, saying that he was doing. And they also lied by not exposing what Joe Biden did and a lot of other things that him and the Biden family didn't or did do that they were hiding, and they wouldn't tell anybody that was actually happening. So just that on its own rigged the election, but also the boarded up windows at the voting facilities, the carts coming in at 3 a.m. with a bunch of votes in it. Like all of that stuff is very, very suspicious to say the least. So I'll grant you that maybe the Dominion voting system glitches didn't sway it one way or another. I don't know how true that was. And like Joe Rogan said, even if they did find glitches did sway the election one way or another, would they actually admit it, especially after Donald Trump all this time has been saying they stole the election from us? Like, would they really admit it? The answer is no. They wouldn't admit it. But let's just grant them that it didn't sway the election one way or another. It doesn't really matter because we know for a fact the media did. The media swayed the election, and it's thank God that we have sites like Twitter now. And everybody who watches this channel regularly know that I'm not the biggest fan of Elon Musk. But it's going to be really important going into the next election that we actually have a platform that's at least moving in the direction of freedom of speech so we can actually try to get some unbiased information going into the next one. Because all of these social media sites, not just the mainstream media, these social media sites also rigged the 2020 election because they hid certain information as well and pushed forward certain information that was untrue about Donald Trump. So not only was it the MSM that was propagating false info about Trump and hiding true info about Biden, it was also these social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, etc. Like I said, even if we grant them that the Dominion glitches didn't sway the election one way or another, you still have to think about the carts of votes showing up at 3 a.m., the boarded up windows, and also, like I said, social media and mainstream media just straight up lying about both candidates. Let me know what you're thinking about what Joe Rogan had to say about Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and the 2020 election in the comments.